Welcome to the College Football X with your hosts, John Nelson and John Wilkerson.
Welcome to the season premiere of the College Football X. I'm John Wilkerson. John Nelson will join me a little later. Conference realignment continues, now not so much on the major college level, but on the group of five level, it's continuing. A couple of schools made the jump from FCS to FBS into Conference USA, and those schools were the University of Delaware and Missouri State University. And that has created a lot of fun here in my household. You see, my wife, Kathy, is a proud alum of the University of Delaware. Meanwhile, I graduated from Missouri State University. Now, Kathy and I have been married for 29 years. It'll be 30 years next year. And never in a million years did I think that our schools would become conference rivals, much less dance partners in a new conference. It's officially a house divided. Now, I put it out there on social media, and some of the reactions on X.com has been pretty good. Let's start with the University of Delaware Athletics, where they said, "Sorry, John, we're with your wife on this one." My alma mater, Missouri State, responded, "Marriage is built on compromise. She can have the playlist, the thermostat, and the dog. But the win, that's all Bears. Go Bears." I tended to agree with that one. But then a Delaware superfan had to chime in. His response, "Your wife, greater than John. Blue Hens, greater than Bears. Tell your wife I know a good divorce lawyer. Go Hens." I don't think I'm going to be needing a divorce lawyer. We're happily married, and, well, we dodged a bullet because Missouri State and Delaware don't play in football this year. So, problem solved right there. However, our story did capture the attention of a college football recruiting writer who wrote an article on his X.com account, about our story, about our house divided. One of the excerpts, the bigger picture. This marital melee comes on the heels of Conference USA's latest realignment, which has thrown traditional rivalries into chaos and created new battle lines. For Wilkerson and his wife, the stakes are personal. Will they survive the taunts, the trash talk, and the inevitable post-game arguments, or will this be the season that tests the limits of their house divided? And there he is, Gabe Neff, joining us here on the College Football X, the non-P4 offer tracker page on X.com. He's in charge of that. He pays attention to the group of five schools and their recruiting. But first of all, Gabe, I got to ask you, when you looked on social media and you saw my wife and me in our school sweatshirts talking about house divided, what possessed you to decide to write an article about it?
Right. So like I said, as I mentioned a little bit early in our previous discussions, our page has a real pragmatic nature for both recruits to help get their film and exposure out there, and for college coaches to get a open access source to get first-hand accounts of offers going on around. But with that being said, as an old washed-up old football guy, I know there'd be some long days, especially in the summer and in camp like that. And, if everything going on with conference realignment, and, marriage is a wonderful, wonderful thing in life, but we all know it has its challenges. So, I figured it'd be a good time.
Yes, we do.
Right. Yes. So I figured it would be a kind of a few different avenues to kind of make a little satire article from multiple different points of angles of, so we've seen there's been more extreme versions of this, such as, it's almost hard to believe, that, Stanford and Cal are members of the ACC, but still, with the geographic rearrangement of things, it's, like you mentioned, not too many people would foresee Missouri State and Delaware being in the same conference. So it's kind of making light of that a little bit. And like I said, kind of joking at the bit of, some of the marital bliss, so to speak. So yeah, I was just trying to bring a little light to the page, a little different type of engagements. Like I said, we take our work seriously. We want to be a trusted source, but part of being a trusted source is being authentic and being human and having some humor at times. So,
well, Kathy and I have been married for 29 years. And never in a million years did we think that our schools would be conference rivals, much less dance partners into a new league. And so it's come to fruition, and we are now conference rivals. And I wanted to read a couple excerpts from what you talked
Sure.
about because you said somewhere in the heartland, and
Mhm.
I guess you consider Metro Atlanta, suburban Atlanta, the
Right.
heartland, but it's more the southeast. But you talked about the photo and how we're decked out in our respective school gear, and that
Mhm.
had that house divided plastered on there. And my wife was obviously sporting her Delaware sweatshirt, which I
There
just
you
stick
go.
out of
Blue
the
Hens
closet.
gear. Yep.
And you'd mentioned how I had my Missouri State hoodie on, which was
Hmm.
this one on. Unfortunately, it's not a hoodie, but you know what?
Yeah,
Accuracy, so what?
there's the Bears gear. Yep. Yeah.
But you go on and kind of describe how, and you were very creative with it. Our playful rivalry has sparked a flood of comments. You mentioned some of the comments on there. One asking about coin tosses and marriage counseling.
Yeah.
I even had a guy respond to me saying that he knew a good divorce lawyer for my wife
Oh
because he
my
was a
goodness.
Delaware alum. It really sparked some really good conversation on Twitter, or I'm sorry, Next.com, which I really wasn't expecting. I even
Right.
put on my Facebook page
Wow.
and
That's awesome.
got some response from my friends on Facebook, which some of
Yeah.
them are Missouri State people, some of them are not. Um, Unfortunately, my wife has not put it on her Facebook page, so I have no clue
Uh,
what the Delaware group
right. It's
says.
happened there.
But you wrapped it up by saying, as the 2025 season approaches, all eyes will be on the couple to see if their love can withstand the gridiron gauntlet. Will it be a tale of unity triumphing over rivalry, or will the Bears and Blue Hens hear the marriage um, will tear this marriage asunder? Stay tuned for
Right.
updates. We do plan on doing some updates, but here's the problem, Gabe. We
Hmm.
don't play them in football this year. We're not common
Oh my
opponents.
goodness. Well, I guess that'll just help build the anticipation. And ironically, on the topic of marriages and conference realignment, at times you are adversaries, but also all conference members are working together to help build the funds of the league, back their get more funds in their athletic department, and kind of level up. And Missouri State's a great program, but obviously Delaware's had a little bit more success at the FCS level for a while. So I'm excited to see them kind of move their way up and see, especially on that East Coast recruiting sector, so to speak. And also, I'll be curious to see if their recruiting base, if they'll stay in the kind of Northeast, or if they will, obviously, too, going from FCS to FBS, they'll have a larger scholarship allotment if they're going to maybe go down more of the traditional SEC Southern areas or West Coast Texas, et cetera, to fill out and maybe change their talent pool. And possibly, you can say it's Missouri State too, if they're going to possibly get it to more of a national recruiting model than a more of a local model.
Well, you brought up their tradition. Delaware obviously has a national championship tradition in the Division
Right.
two and FCS level. They've got banners hanging at their stadium. Missouri State, hey, when I went to school there in the late 80s and 90s, we were making playoff runs, but mainly the football tradition has been kind of checkered.
Okay.
When Bobby
Right.
Petrino was there, we kind of got back into the winning ways, but
Yeah, and I also saw
it's been
that.
a basketball school. My question
Okay.
is to you, Gabe, and with your experience in the group of five,
Mhm.
um, which do you think, which program, Delaware or Missouri State, is probably more equipped right now to compete in the Conference USA in the short term?
So just kind of keeping the program's history in mind and with last year's records, I would say I would give the initial advantage to Delaware. But I think long term, you could argue that Missouri State has just as much potential upside due to their geographic nature. Um, they're closer to a lot more of the traditional hotbeds of talent. Um, and they are, obviously with Missouri Columbia and the SEC now they're in the SEC country. So to answer your question, I think I see Delaware being more competitive off the rip, so to speak. But I think long term, Missouri State has all the tools to be just as competitive as Delaware.
Okay, I guess I'll accept that answer. Short term, I
Okay.
guess my wife's going to have a little bit of an advantage. I'll let her
Right.
brag.
Yeah.
But
Well, the
yeah,
Blue Hens are a little bit of a blue blood in this scenario, no pun intended. But yeah, but obviously it's going to tradition always helps, but you're obviously leveling up, and historically across all programs, it can be a bit of some growing pains involved. So it's going to be curious to see if they can have that same success in the next level.
And Gabe, when Delaware and Missouri State do play in football,
Hmm.
I may need you to be a mediator in case,
Oh,
because I'm a competitive guy.
okay.
And my wife's a Long Island girl, New Yorker. She's
There we
opinionated.
go. Yeah, and well, one of my very formative mentors at WU was a Long Island guy, so I don't like to stereotype, but if she's anything like him, they are a strong personality and they'll let you know how they feel sooner than later. So yeah, I'll be happy to do that. And shoot, I mean, maybe our page will go out to the game or something. You know what I mean? Because we haven't done anything like that. So, and part of this article and too is trying to source engagement from a little bit different perspectives than we might normally do. Besides from our normative name, position, offer, class. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was another thing too because our page is we rebranded from Scott FB about 6 months ago, so we're relatively new and we're trying to grow as well. So.
Tell me a little bit about non-P4 offer tracker, how it began, what your focus, and how do you see it advancing in the future?
Okay. So, well, ironically, I my ex-wife and I started an LLC last March, where we focused on kind of the smaller levels. It was actually called Small College Offer Tracker. We had some success there. Partially speaking to my personal experiences because I've worked in multiple D3 schools and I played at the D2 level, so I'm familiar with that lower level too, as you're probably well aware of with the transfer portal. It's great. Kids have the mobility that they didn't have before, but it's also taking a big impact on the high school recruiting because obviously we'll just say on average each program's allocating a 25% of the scholarships for transfer kids. That means they're signing 25% less transfer kids. So that trickles down. So historically, I think right now it's harder to go D3 and D2 than it used to be. So with that being said, we had some success on that page. We also do some consulting and advising for kids who want some enhanced services. And part of the success with that is I felt I hit a nice niche between stuff that people care about and stuff that's not widely saturated. The SEC is great. The Big Ten is great. My mom went to Ohio State. I come from a UK family. My grandpa played basketball for Coach Rubb. My cousin played football at UK. But my point is, those are massive fan bases, and I felt like it's an area already covered. But also, too, I'm trying to form a space where I can help coaches and recruits. So my point was, I took what I learned from that model, finding the sweet spot between where people care and stuff that's not oversaturated, and we still will work with the D2 schools a little bit, but we wanted to shift our perspective into a little bit higher, but still with outside the major emphasis of the Power Five and the Power Five schools. So thus we start targeting the group of five schools. So yeah, and let's be honest, if the Power Five schools, they have, they're trying to recruit top 300 and whatever, 500 players. They're not looking for diamonds in the rough. And let's be real, there are some kids that can need some additional promotion who have legit chances to be scholarship players. But if you're a Power Five player, you don't need any recruiting services, and you don't. So, like I said, I'm trying to hit that niche. So that's how we started. We started a new rebranded this March, and like I said, we've primarily focused on the group of fives, but we also throw some D2s out there because, as you know, FCS programs, things may not be going exactly how they want. Kids slide off their board. Okay, maybe let's look at a D2 school a guy who might be on the fringe who you could move on to next. I hope that
Yeah,
answered your question.
no, that's perfect. That's perfect. And I appreciate you putting my Twitter handle on there to
Of
follow
course.
the saga
Yeah.
of my wife and I, house divided, as we try to navigate what it's like to be conference rivals.
Right.
And
Well, if nothing else, like you, historically, she's got football, you got basketball. So,
well, basketball hasn't been so great lately, but
oh, really?
appreciate that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
And I
men's
did see that.
basketball was our calling card, and we've struggled a little bit in the Missouri. Of course, we finished last in the Missouri Valley,
Mm,
but new coaching staff with Quanzo Martin.
okay.
Yeah, well, it's his return. to Missouri State because he had success there in the late 2000s.
Nice.
And so they brought him back, and we're hoping that things turn around in men's basketball.
Right.
Go back to the Spoon Hour era when we were going to the NCAA tournament back when I was in school there.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of, back in the day, I saw that I found it interesting as a person who's worked in higher ed the last 10 plus years of how you guys or how Missouri State kind of rebranded from, you guys used to be Southwest Missouri State. Is that correct?
When I went to school there, we were Southwest Missouri State. Yes.
So that, and in hindsight, that kind of makes sense, kind of helps your national image a little bit to, a little bit of branding, all that fun stuff. So,
Okay, so Gabe, I'm going to be updating you
okay.
if you ever want to keep
Sure.
tabs on how we're doing.
Yeah.
It may be just where we are in the conference race,
Right.
but I appreciate you bringing attention
Of course.
to our saga and appreciate you coming on the College Football X.
Okay, of course, yeah, and I appreciate you having me on. And nothing else, we'll probably give Missouri State and Delaware a little bit of extra coverage this year, and keep tabs, and we can really start building that anticipation for the. Do you guys meet 26?
Haven't checked the schedule, the future schedule, but we'll see. I
Yeah,
just wish I kind of wish we were common opponents.
right, true, and of course, obviously a September game in Missouri would be much more pleasant to attend than a November game in Delaware. So,
True, true. Although me and my other hosts here on the College Football X, we've already decided we're going to road trip wherever the game is. And we'll invite you along too, Gabe.
that'd be great. And last kind of dumb question. So I work full time at Miami University, so I'm obviously in MAC country, and we
Yep.
do obviously MAC's known for the midweek game. So is Conference USA, do they do anything like that, or is that just more of a MAC thing?
Probably more of a Mac thing.
I got you.
What the Mac is really great with rivalries.
Yeah.
And their nickname for rivalries, which we're attracted to here. Conference USA has been kind of a mishmash of teams. Louisiana Tech is leaving. They've already been invited to the Sun Belt, so we'll see. I guess it's after this year, though. I don't think it's been settled when they're going to join. But Conference USA has had a lot of teams come and
Yeah.
go. And I think it's a good thing for Missouri State. I think it's a good thing for Delaware too, especially with all sports.
Oh yeah.
But again, Gabe, we appreciate you joining us.
Sure.
And when we come back, John Nelson and I will discuss the House Divided. We'll be right back.
The online sports guys would love to hear from you. Go to our X page, formerly known as Twitter, at OSG Sports for a comment, rant, or just whatever is on your mind about college football. Now back to the College Football X. Here's John Wilkerson.
And welcome back to the season premiere of College Football X, and we're having some fun today. And we also thank Gabe Neff for joining us. And John, again, what a bizarre set of circumstances. I post out that my wife and I are conference rivals now and dance partners in the Conference USA, and put it out on the socials. And next thing I know, somebody's writing an article.
Hey, look. Hey, there's no such thing as bad pub coming from anywhere. But no, as we have posted on as many different social media platforms as humanly possible, I'm just going to say this. When Missouri State plays Delaware in football, whenever this is, you realize, of course, we are abandoning all of our other games.
Yeah,
So
I
that
realize
means-
this.
So Patty is not going to Auburn that week. Phil is not going to Georgia Southern that week. Michelle is not going to the Raging Cajun game of the week. We are all going to field trip to wherever this game is. To
Springfield, Missouri,
Yeah,
Delaware.
right. So either or, we are going to this game wherever it is. And I anticipate, and I probably should send you this photo. I mean, it exists out in the ether on the face spaces. But when the boss and I went to the national championship game,
And we need to explain that. Florida State and Auburn played in 13
Right.
For the national championship. Your alma maters, you're a Florida State guy. Patty's an Auburn girl.
right. So strangely enough, the tickets that were purchased for this game that we went out to at the Rose Bowl, they ended up in the Auburn section. Patty swears she has no earthly idea how this happened. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How'd you do? How'd you do? And this was slightly before our 1-year anniversary of being married. We figured if our marriage could survive that game, that our marriage could survive anything. I'm anticipating that because you had a bit of a longer runway with the boss on your side of things, that I think that you're on the other end of that labor of Sisyphus. You're on the downhill. You're okay. Everything will be fine no matter where this game is and no matter how many times it's being played. But I anticipate after this game is over, whenever it appears on the schedule, that one of us, could be Marty, Marty and Lily, they'll be, they won't be going to their North Texas game or their TOSU game. They'll be coming. It'll be a gathering. We'll have our own tailgate. There will be a picture taken by one of us that will be eerily representative and eerily close to the photo that was taken after the Rose Bowl game was over, where we both have a look on our faces of like, can we get the blank out of here? And literally, I had to put on a sweatshirt over my Garnet golf shirt that had the logo on it because I was in the Auburn section. So I have to figure out, one, after this game is over, where the survival meal is going to be. And this is where we're going to be on your best interest of yelping in either city. But I anticipate a similar photo from that one that we took after our game was over that will happen when your game is over, when it is anticipated and when it finally does get complete.
So you're anticipating that this game is going to be played at Delaware. And thank God that charcoal gray is in the Missouri State color scheme, because I could get away with that shirt.
Yeah.
Just couldn't put the bear head on my chest here. I'd have to be very incognito, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yes, that is true. Yes. There have to be some incognito involved. I'm glad that Gabe stumbled across the story because it's fantastic. And it will be a continuing source of wins and losses and finger pointing and laughter and cackling amongst all of us going forward, and follow it as long as you can. That's all I can say.
And we'll continue the saga as well. Lucky for me that Missouri State will be at Kennesaw State Thanksgiving weekend, so I can head over to Kennesaw State to watch the Bears play in person.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Delaware's not coming to Kennesaw this year, so.
Oh, all right. So hang on. Let's see. Hang on. We might have an early edition here of Football on a Budget. Just checking. I want to check. Yeah, because
$4. I'll bet you it's $4.
All right. Well, hang on.
That's just my guess.
Just checking. So, all right. So ticket info. There's ticket info. So hang on. So I need the schedule. So sports, athletics, schedule. So, all right. So it's up. You said Thanksgiving. Wow, it's a Thanksgiving. Good for you.
It's a Thanksgiving tradition. Kennesaw State, Missouri State.
It is. It's absolutely a tradition. Okay. And, oh, no, that's disappointing.
What?
It's not quite your, what did you say?
$4?
It's a little more than that at the moment.
Well, what's the going rate?
14 is your get-in.
I'll pay it.
So if
pay it and tailgate and wear my maroon.
Yes. Well, if you go into the sections that are, well, actually, no, I take it back. You can go 14 to be in one general admission end zone underneath the new scoreboard, or you can go on the other side and be general admission in the south end zone for 19. And you can be on the opposing sideline for 35 in one section, which is where I imagine that Missouri State folks are going to be. We might have to figure this one out. But, yeah, general admission, $14 getting in the north end zone. That is Football on a Budget for Thanksgiving weekend, kids. Saturday, November 22nd, 2 o'clock, Fifth Third Stadium at the Fraction, Kennesaw State, Missouri State. An early Football on a Budget here on the show.
And as we continue on with the College Football X, we'll be talking about the SEC Media Days coming up. We'll recap some of the Big 12, what happened there. We're going to give you a general feel on a preseason edition of College Football X, some of our opinions, have some guests, and get you geared up for the college football season. Week 0, about a month and a half away.
No such thing as week 0. Everything is week 0 leading up until week 1, and then it's just week 1 and then it resets. So I don't think week 0 actually does exist anymore. In the sense of there's always a week for college football talk, and we just have to figure out what to talk about. There you go.
That's right. Talking season's fun, preseason's fun. So we thank Gabe Neff for joining our show, Gabe Neff for joining our show, and we'll see you next time here on the College Football X.
Please like and subscribe, and don't toss to me when I'm having a sip.
So long, everyone.